Hello, everyone. It is great to be with you this afternoon, this evening, wherever you happen to be. And let me start off saying I really enjoy this time that we're having together. And I look forward to this being something that we can develop and really make a difference in your life as well. You know, one of the things that I used to do in the past all the time, we had what was called a team meeting. We used to meet once a month, and spend the day together and talking about business and all types of issues. And, and I was always excited about that because, personal growth is the key to everything you want to have in your life. And the great thing about being able to do this, we can have that personal growth in our life through this. And now it's easy. It can be from all over the world where people can actually tune in. And then at the same time, forming a group where you've got other individuals that may be experiencing some of the things that you're going through that you can share and gain experiences from. And really, I really, truly want to help you to be able to develop the life you truly would like to have, because I have no doubt in my mind that you can get through any difficulty that you have, and you can overcome any difficulty that you have to face, and you are capable of achieving your dreams in life. And I want to be the one there that can push you, to encourage you, to yell at you, or do whatever it takes for you that you're willing to step up and grow into the individual that you should grow into. And what I want to talk to you about this afternoon is last week, and let me thank you for your comments, your questions. Please keep your comments and questions coming in, because that's what's going to stimulate my thinking and being able to do things that are interesting to you and deal with situations that you may actually be facing in your own life. Because be assured, if you're facing it, there are other people that are facing it as well. And from one of the comments that I got last week was, how do you keep that fire in your belly all the time? Especially when you're surrounded by negativity and being put down or whatever the case may be. And that's an exciting question, because that's something we all have to deal with. And let me start off with, let's look at the obstacles we have to face in life. Life is not always fair. In life sometimes can become very, very difficult. But at the same time, what's causing all of this to actually happen? And one is the environment that we actually live in. The environment, is basically negative all the time. And all you have to do is look at the media, and I sort of, laugh at this today. But again, if you look at the media, you look at the TV, you look at the ads are putting out there all the things that you should have in your life. You should look like this. You should travel to these places. You should drive this type of automobile. You should wear this type of cologne or this type of perfume and wear these type of clothes and become this type of individual. And these are the things that are stimulating you to be able to go out and spend your money, this form of marketing. And I don't have a problem with that. And then you stand up and you try to do something with your life. And then all of a sudden, at work and people and the government and all these other things, with the laws and regulations that we deal with all the time, come in and say, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. So therefore, we have this constant negativity that we're dealing with all the time. We want to achieve our dreams, but then a lot of times there are things that are stopping us, or people trying to stop us from achieving our dreams. So how do we deal with that? But that's one of the things that causes a lot of this frustration in people's lives. The second thing is our experiences that we've actually had growing up. I don't know what your life was like, but in my life, our appearance, our ability, and our intellect was ridiculed many times from parents, from teachers, and actually from friends throughout our entire life. So we grow up with all of these types of hang-ups. For a simple example, when I was younger, I was not very heavy, but I compared today, but I was heavy. And the clothes that I used to wear were called huskies or chubbies, depending on what you actually were purchasing. And so, and then my name is Ola, and my dad's name is Ola. So my whole life, every time I was with my dad, and people would always call me Baby Ola, and he was Big Ola. Now, as I got older, it was no big deal. But then when I was growing up and I had friends that came into the restaurant looking for me, and they say, is Ola here? And they would say, oh, do you want Big Ola or Baby Ola? And then all of a sudden I had this nickname, Baby Ola, Baby Ola, Baby Ola. And it wasn't something that I really enjoyed growing up with, but I mean, that was just part of life. And so you have to learn to do these things. And actually, that ended up causing me to stutter a great deal in my life. And I had major problems speaking, all the way through, the 9th and 10th grade when I had to give a presentation in class, whatever it was, and it wasn't until I got a little bit older, that I started to be able to learn some things and being able to deal with a lot of that. So again, I do understand a little bit of the things that people are going through today as well. And then the third thing is we confuse failure in a project with failure in life. And so therefore, we're trying to do things with our life. We're starting a business. We're getting into a new career. We get a new job and we start failing and failing and failing at it. Things aren't working out the way we thought. It's a lot more difficult than we anticipated, and we start looking at, well, I'm just a failure. That's totally false. First of all, let me give you some information about failure. Failure is the greatest thing that can happen to you. Failure is the greatest teacher you can ever have, because failure, all it does is shows you what you actually don't know. It shows you areas you need to work on to be able to succeed in the life that you truly would like to have. So failure is a very positive aspect, and you don't want to confuse failure in a project with failure in life. And I have different sayings that I have learned throughout my life that has actually helped me a great deal. And let me give you some of them. One of them is, anything we do is difficult in the beginning. No matter what it is, we go on a new job. When we first get there, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be confusing, and we're wondering if we're ever going to be able to learn it. We go to school and we take a class and we've never done it before. It's going to be difficult and we're going to have troubles learning it and things like this. The study is like, oh, can I ever learn this? Especially if we're trying to learn a new language. So in the beginning, no matter what we do, it's difficult. And then as we start to progress, it becomes very messy. Because then we understand how little we understand, and we're wondering, will we ever be able to put it together? And so we're in that second stage of confusion, that it's really messy, and eventually we will move to the third stage, which means it all turns out great. Because many of you today, when you first walked into that first day on the job that you have or the career that you have, it was confusion. You were ever wondering if you were ever going to be able to remember all the things to do, how to figure it all out. And then it became very confusing as you start to put it together, questioning yourself, but you kept at it. Where today, sometimes the jobs that you had that were very, very hard to learn today are boring. Because again, it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. So again, if you understand that things are difficult in the beginning, it's messy in the middle, but it's always going to be great. So when you're going through that, you say, oh, I'm at this stage. I'm at stage 1, or I'm in stage 2, or I can feel stage 3 is starting to come because it's starting to make sense to me. So don't confuse failure in life with a failure in project. And then the fourth thing, we have an unfair comparison of experiences. We compare other people to us, and we always elevate them, and we always put ourselves down. That's unfair. Every one of you that I'm talking to, every one of you that will ever be working with me, every one of you is totally unique. There is no one that has the gifts, the talents, and the abilities put together just as you have. You are unique. So therefore, you have no right to compare yourself to anybody else. You're unique. You're valuable. So you got to understand that. So don't compare yourself with somebody else. So those are the obstacles just in life that we have to deal with on a regular basis. And so what we need to be able to do in any situation we're in, we need to create what's called positive energy. Now, how do you do that? Let me give you 4 things to think about. The first one is you got to believe you have something of value for everyone. No matter who it is, you've got to believe that you have value for everyone. Okay. And again, what ends up happening when we believe that we have value that we can give to people, then our self-talk, which we spend most of the time talking to ourselves, we're telling ourselves, oh, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I have value. I can contribute here. I can contribute there. And then that affects our self-image. And our self-image then affects our behavior, our performance. And then that goes back and supports our self-talk. And that's the cycle that we get in. But unfortunately, most people don't believe they have something of value. And I know all of you do. You may not know what values you have at this point. And I would encourage you, sit down tonight and think about, what do you value? What's valuable to you? And how do you operate? Let me give you one of my personal values. Whenever I have difficulties, and that's frequently, okay, because I'm always trying the new things. Whenever you have difficulties, I always fight my battles on my knees. If I don't do that, then I'm going to lose. But when I fight my battles on my knees, it always works out. It may not always work out exactly as I intended it, but it always works out the way God intended it. And therefore, it always works out for the best. So again, that's one of my values. So sit down and think about what your values are, because you can contribute to others. The second thing is, you have to believe that you can make a difference in a person's life. Okay, you got to believe that you can make a difference. And that's why I'm so excited about this Facebook Live group, because I truly want to be able to build a team of people that want to grow individually, that want to grow personally, that want to be able to experience the fullness of life, and want to be able to change other people's lives and work together. And that gets me excited, because we can make a major difference in the world that we actually live in today. And so I'm excited about being able to pass these principles on to you, then that you can learn and make them a part of your life. And then you just living that life, you're going to end up changing a lot of other people in their lives as well. So you got to believe that you can make a difference in a person's life. But unfortunately, our self-talk is, most of the time, it's negative. We're always telling ourselves, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this. And unfortunately, we usually believe what we say to ourselves. And let me tell you a fact. Most of the things that you say to yourself are either a lie or they're not true. So don't trust what you're saying to yourself. Don't trust your emotions, because they will lie to you. But again, it's important to understand how that cycle actually works. And the third thing, believe that you can make a difference in the team or the people you work with or your family. You got to believe in that. And the last one, believe that you can make a difference, in the business that you're a part of. And you put all four of these together, then what happens is our life becomes exciting. It's become sort of an adventure for us. And remember, all of this builds on this one principle. Your attitude towards others is going to determine their attitude towards you. If you have a negative feeling towards somebody else because they did something or something happened, whatever it is, and you carry that negative attitude, or you get that little bit of a resentment, or that little bit of a frustration, because it's like you're doing all the work and they're trying to take all the credit from you, and you get that. And then what's going to happen, that attitude that you develop, everybody else around you is going to be able to pick up on that attitude, and you're not going to have that excitement, that adventure, that peace, that cohesiveness that you truly want to have in your life. And usually when somebody is, always trying to take somebody else's credit, or, they're always very negative, and part of it is the story they keep telling themselves. But usually the root cause of all of this is some unresolved anger that they may actually have in their life. Because when you have unresolved anger, now, if somebody is very negative around you all the time, they may have some unresolved anger within them. And the reason I'm giving you this, so you can start to understand why they act the way they act, and you can act totally different. And if you're very positive, very optimistic, about life and about what you're doing, and they don't get to you, sooner or later, they're going to start wondering, what in the world do you have that they don't have? And the door to dialogue will start to open up. And the way you act could become a major factor in helping them to be able to resolve some things going on in their life. Because that unresolved anger will end up creating a sense of blame. They're going to blame everybody else, because the way I'm feeling, I'm negative because of you, or because of this, or because of this, because of the government, because of my in-laws, because of my spouse, because of my kids, or, whatever it is. There's always somebody else's fault. Now, I understand you cannot control the circumstances that you face on a daily basis. I can't control the circumstances that I face. But let me tell you a fact. I'm in total control on how I respond to those circumstances. Let me tell you something that you may not want to hear. Whenever you get angry, you have just turned over total control of your emotions to somebody else. And if they know what they're doing, they're going to get you, they're going to put you in a knot. They're going to twist you inside and out because they control your emotions. You are no longer in control of them. So again, you're in control of how you react to the circumstances in your life. So, and when you stop blaming somebody else, stop. Even if other people may be the blame of something, if you're doing in your life, it doesn't do any good to blame somebody else. Look at your responsibility. Maybe you caused something, or what can I learn from this process? Because I'm in control. I determine how I'm going to react to every single circumstance in my life. Now, do I fly off the handle sometimes, especially if you're driving and you're tired, or somebody cuts you off, or somebody won't let you in to change the lanes? And yeah, we all do that now and then. But again, I get out of it very, very, very quick because I'm in control of my emotion. 3 things that you have total control of: what you think. No one can control what you think. The images, these thoughts create in your mind, and the actions you take on the thoughts, the actions you take on the images that the thoughts created in your mind. Those are the only 3 things that you have total control over. So again, if people are blaming, it's usually because there may be some unresolved anger. And then blame evolves eventually into a sense of bitterness. They become bitter. The world stinks. Everything is bad. No matter how good things are bad. Where I live, it's bad. The area is bad. The state's bad. The country's bad. My job, my boss, everything is bad. And then we develop that blame, and then that blame comes to bitterness, and then that bitterness can turn into hatred. And now we got a really bad problem. But when you start to hate something, that will end up turning into, for you, a sense of helplessness and hopelessness, and a sense of inadequacy. And when we feel hopeless and we have no hope in the future, we are completely powerless actually in the present situation that we're in. And then that helplessness turns into, depression. And then we become desperate, and then we end up being totally ungrateful for everything that's going in our life. So understanding the process and why somebody may be really negative, there may be some way that you can inject something in a positive sense to that individual. Sometimes it's just a smile. And sometimes it's just listening and saying absolutely nothing and then just moving on. One of the other things I told you, life is hard in the beginning, it's messy in the middle, and it's great at the end. Another thing that helps me, and I got this from, I forget his name. He sings, Dancing in the Rain, Laughter in the Rain. No, Dancing in the Rain. And it was from an old movie, and somewhere in that movie was said that life is not about waiting for storms to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. And I think there's a lot of value in that thought. It's not about waiting for the storms to pass, because again, that storm may pass and there's another one right behind it. But it's about learning how we can dance in the rain and enjoy the process and the fun of dancing in the rain. Because if you ever notice, if there's a mud puddle somewhere around and you have children, for some way, somehow, those kids seem to be walking right in the middle of the mud puddle and splashing, and they're laughing. When was the last time you walked through a mud puddle and stopped in the middle of it and started to splash your feet in it? Try it if you haven't done it in a while. You may find out the enjoyment that young people actually have. Because when life is tough, we can find hope, in knowing what awaits us in the future. Now, if you say, well, I don't have a future, that's not true. Okay, you can have more, and these are psychological principles. You can have more than you have because you can become more than you are. Now, the question is, who do you want to become? I want you to spend time thinking about that and let me know. And I want to help you to become that individual. I want to be able to help you to achieve that dream in your life, to be able to develop that lifestyle that you've always wanted to have, because I know it's possible for each and every one of you. So you can have more than you have because you can become more than you are. And the thing that's important to also learn to do, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is the story that you keep telling yourself. I can't do this. This won't work. That's not who I am. I didn't have the proper education. I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Or I hear once in a while somebody says, well, I just got out of the wrong side of the bed today. Well, that's an easy one to fix. Get back in the bed and go out and get out the other side. And so, but again, it's that story we keep repeating over and over again in our mind is what actually becomes reality in your life. So you can have whatever it is you want. You want to start changing your life. First of all, you got to embrace life. Don't try to resist it. You've heard the saying, what you resist will persist. Just embrace it. It is what it is. And you can act and react any way you want to it. Make a commitment to yourself that you're going to act in an optimistic, positive way, that you're going to have what I like to call a winning attitude, not just a positive attitude, because I don't believe we can all be positive 365 days a year. It's impossible 24 hours a day. Things happen and we get negative. We get depressed. We feel down. And that's okay. We're all human beings. We all make mistakes. We don't do the things we should do all the time. Welcome to the human race. But we can embrace it and we can decide how we're going to act and react to what happens in life. So one, embrace life to its fullness. Also, secondly, affirm yourself. Don't ever put yourself down. Don't ever say, I can't do it. You may say, I'm not sure how to do it, but I can learn it. Because anything can be learned if you're willing to find the different resources that are available for you. And I'd love to become a resource person for you. Number three, this is where you need that coach or that mentor, call them whatever, somebody that you can talk to and vent to, that you can share these feelings that are going on. And they'll sit there and they'll listen to you. They'll never criticize you. They'll never judge you. They listen to you, and then they feed back what you're saying to make sure it's what you're really meaning. And then they help you put a solution together to be able to find a way out of whatever situation you actually may be in. And the fourth one, do something positive, but not everything. Because you can do anything when you quit trying to do everything. You can't do everything. And a lot of times we actually try to do everything. That's where personal growth actually comes in. Personal growth will generate life. It creates faith. It produces change. It causes miracles. It heals hurts. Character transforms circumstances. It overcomes adversity. It deflects failure in our life. It infuses hope. It releases power. It cleanses our mind. It brings things into being and guarantees you a future. That's what personal growth does. Personal growth is the nourishment that you must have to fulfill your purpose in life. And I hope you're enjoying these Facebook Live sessions. Please, give me your comments. Email me on topics or thoughts that you have or things you don't understand and things you'd like to gain more information from. I get very excited about this because I really know that we can end up developing a group of people that can have a phenomenal life. It can change your life personally. I want to be able to help you grow your business, help you to be able to find your purpose and to find your mission in life, and to be able to encourage you to go through life, and not allow circumstances to ever control you in any particular way. And let me leave you with a very old saying. Faith whispers to the warrior, you cannot withstand the storm. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. You have that power within inside of each and every one of you. Don't give in to the negativity that surrounds you. Don't give in to that negative environment. And if you want to find one powerful value that I have that I mentioned to you. When you have these frustrations, these difficulties, and you're not sure where to turn and what to do, spend a few moments fighting those battles on your knees, and you will find a solution. I want to thank you. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to working with you next week. And God bless all of you. Have a phenomenal week.